His body is amazing. Okay, whoa! My friend Emily. What the hell is that? So what we're seeing throughout this whole story is zero accountability.
Goo goo gaga. Goo goo gaga. Goo goo gaga.
So hello everyone, and welcome to my channel, or welcome back to my channel. I'm Jessica Layla, and it has been a little bit since I posted anything. But we're back. Happy 2026. Merry Christmas. Happy New Year. And happy birthday to me. I'm 25 now. We're gonna be starting off strong with some toxic Reddit relationship stories. Now my main go-to for these stories is this page on Instagram, which finds some of the most toxic stories. So if you're into that, you should go check them out. So what I want you to do is to grab your snacks, grab your drinks, get all comfy cozy, and let's just dive in with our first story. I, 22 female, was played by my friend's 21 female boyfriend, 27 male. How can I push through mentally while saving my friendship and previous relationship? I used to wonder how people can get played by loser-ass men. Well, they're good at lying and manipulating. So my friend Sarah was dating this guy Kevin. Kevin is an all-around loser. He had no job, flunked out of college, etc. So I started hanging around him in a group setting. He starts the manipulation there because he starts talking about his cousin being in jail, and that's why he can't focus. What? The red flag was when my ex-boyfriend, Sean, would be around. He would start bullying him. At the time, I didn't realize it was bullying, but Anne thought my ex Sean was overreacting. Now I see it for what it is. Get a life, you 27 bullying a 20-year-old who has already had a job lined up when he graduates. Anyway, we start messaging on the side and he basically lies and says, we are soulmates. So now I break up with Sean, like he asked me to. And Kevin decides he doesn't want to break up with Sarah, but it was his idea. He said he would break up with Sarah if I break up with Sean so we can be together. But now he said we should just keep hooking up while he stays with Sarah. I don't know what he thought this was, but I told Sarah everything. I mean, everything. Because no, you're not going to just sleep around. I started to realize I was played and got manipulated to act out of character. I'm not a homewrecker, nor a cheater, but he lied and said we were soulmates, so here we are. Still processing everything, and I want to be able to give Sarah and Sean space, but also explain myself and how this won't happen again. I can see and understand how dangerous narcissistic men can be. You weren't played. You just slept with your friend's boyfriend and now you're mad he didn't want anything more than that. Using a throwaway to post this, then your real account to post something in support of whoring might make you feel better, but it does not absolve you of this imaginary crime you didn't commit because none of this happened. Telling someone you love them and they're your soulmate when you only want to sleep with them is playing them. If he was your soulmate, he would have broken up with his girlfriend. He wouldn't have put you in the situation to be a cheater. And this post screams, I would still be his side chick if he let me. Why do you care more about a lying jerk than your loyal friend? First time he sent you a flirty DM and you didn't call him out meant he knew you would be his side chick. Try therapy if you want to know why you have low self-esteem and feel like it's okay to betray others to make yourself feel better. No, I wouldn't still be the side chick if he let me. He freaking asked me to be the side chick and I said hell no. Then I told my friend because I realized he's just a narcissist who uses women. He lied to me and ruined my relationship with my friend and ex-boyfriend. Now I'm trying to salvage my relationship with them because I am more aware on how narcissistic men operate so this doesn't happen in the future and learn to appreciate my friend and ex-boyfriend. So what we're seeing throughout this whole story is zero accountability. I'm sure this guy could be manipulative. I would go so far as to agree that maybe this guy's a narcissist because a lot of cheaters are. Why do I keep talking like that? But if you found this guy to be such a loser and such a nasty, nasty person, then why did you start doing what you did with him on the side? There's no accountability. It takes two to tango. Someone cannot manipulate you and completely, I want to say mind wash. Brainwash? Someone cannot brainwash you into cheating with them. I don't believe that can happen. I don't believe that someone can be such an expert at manipulation that you're like, you know, maybe I should cheat with them. You ruined your relationship and you ruined your friendship. And now, a common theme with these stories is you are reaping what you sow. And it really bothers me when people don't take accountability for what they did. Because if she had let her friend know, hey, your loser boyfriend is like hitting me up on the side or being weirdly flirty with me, then that would have made you way more credible. But because you just went with what this loser guy was doing, it shows a total lack of loyalty and an inability to, even in writing this post, be honest about the true situation. You know, it's potentially true this guy is manipulative and a narcissist and abusive, and all that makes sense, but you still played a role in it. If someone is, cheating on their partner, and then they're like, hey, but we're actually soulmates, anybody can say anything. Like, I know love is blind, but is love in a coma? But again, that's just my take. So let's move on to the next one. 32 male, my wife, 32 female, argues with me when I'm angry instead of waiting for me to cool down. 32 male here. Wife is 32 female. Married for 5 years. Today, a lot of things piled up, which caused me to get angry, and I behaved inappropriately. I know I did wrong, and I'll own that, but my question is about what happens during the argument. Why does it seem so hard for my wife, and maybe women in general, to just stay silent when a man is clearly angry? Her continuing to argue with me in that moment just accelerates the problem and doesn't make the situation any better. I feel like we could resolve things much more easily if we just talked it out later, once I'm cool. Why does it escalate in the moment instead of being paused? How can we handle this better? To everyone who thinks I'm an abuser, yes. I talk bad things like stay out of my reach or else I might hit you. But I didn't actually touch her. I'm trying to be good. All of you seem so attacking. I've realized after reading all of your comments that I should act more maturely instead of expecting something external. But when I become angry, I'm doubtful if this realization will take effect. Perhaps you should go to anger management therapy. Sounds like you need it. Why does it seem so hard for my wife, and maybe women in general, to just stay silent when a man is clearly angry? You can frick all the way off for that. Yeah, I immediately thought frick this guy because he can't control his emotional outbursts. His wife, and all women in general, just need to be small, quiet, and meek and let him shout. That's not gonna work for me. If you so desperately needed time to clear your head, maybe say, I need some space first, and remove yourself from the situation, instead of threatening to assault her? No wonder she's arguing. She's right to be upset because what the F? Sometimes in anger we react in ways we shouldn't. But, let's take it all the way back. Saying stuff like, stay out of my reach or else I might hit you, sounds like you need to manage your anger a little more effectively. Threatening to, physically harm someone when you're mad is, in fact, abnormal. I don't think your issue is actually she needs to stay quiet. It's that you get so mad, you become so reactionary that any small thing could set you off. I could agree that sometimes we don't want people to talk to us or make situations worse when we're already mad. I think some of us can relate to that fact. But if it becomes, women should be quiet when men are angry. Women in general. I don't like generalizations. Okay, China. Stay out of my reach or else I might hit you. Like, that's an abnormal reaction. That is anger that is dangerous because it can spiral really out of control. Now, I understand if you don't want people to try and talk things out while you're actively mad. I could agree to that. But for you to threaten to hit someone, even if you don't mean it, kind of shows a larger issue, right? That's my take on it. You're welcome to disagree, but I think that's just actually a crazy thing to casually say and admit to online. It's not that you need people to be quiet, it's that you need them in that moment to not add fuel to the fire, right? So that's not the time you talk about what's going on or how to fix it or what to do about the situation. You wait until both parties are in a more level-headed state. But that's just my take on it. What you can do, subscribe, and let me know what you think. Anyways, on to the next one.
Goo goo gaga.
My 32 male fiance, 30 female, blocked me. How can I get closure? Last year I started going to this rock climbing gym and I met the most amazing, beautiful woman. Let's call her Crystal. You'll ever meet. She's smart, funny, kind, sweet. She has an aura that is unmatched by this entire universe. I started questioning everything I knew about love. I had a fiance. am I supposed to do with this? I had a fiance, but my fiance never made me feel this way. Sure, I loved her, but she never made me feel that way Crystal felt. No woman ever did. Crystal is married, but also never felt this way before. We knew we couldn't ignore this feeling, and we started dating each other. The relationship was the most amazing relationship I ever had. I called off the wedding, and Crystal said she would divorce her husband, but it would take longer because they have a daughter, and she has to get her house in order before she can leave. Unfortunately for her, her husband found out because of bad... What the hell is that? On her part, and this blew up everything. While the timing wasn't what she wanted, I figured this was a blessing and a disguise, and we could start our life together even quicker than we planned. I have a decent-sized house and had no problem with her moving in before we even got married. But that's not what happened. She blocked me on everything. I couldn't believe it. I called her from a Google phone to make sure she was safe, and she didn't answer and just messaged me saying, "Hey, please stop contacting me. I'm trying to work things out with my husband. I shouldn't have let it get this far between us, but I do not feel the way about you. I'm sorry for everything." My heart stopped. I begged her to call me. She never did. When I make a number, she just blocks it. I'm hurt, confused, depressed. I just don't know, man. I don't know what this was to her. To me, she was the love of my life, someone that made me feel like a star.
A great big shining star! Yeah!
I realized that love you see in those fairy tale movies that I thought was for show was actually freaking real, and that you can experience it in real life. She said she felt the same, but if she felt the same, would she treat me like this? Just blocks me with barely an explanation? I don't know, man, but any advice would be helpful. Most simply because she loves her child more than she loves the brief infatuation she had with you. Divorce is no joke, and when a kid is involved, it's life-shattering. So this bored, married mom took a little spin with you, but that's all it ever was for her. I just wish she told me from the beginning that she was just bored and looking for fun. I'm not into that, but there's plenty of guys who are, that she could have got. It hurts because she played with my emotions, and I really love her. And you played with your ex-fiance's emotions, making her think that you loved her, and then dumping her for someone else. I have zero sympathy for you since you make who mention of breaking things off with her before you decided to pursue the supposed love of your life. This was a fling. She's a cheater and dishonest. And the best thing you can do is move on and try to never think about her again. I wish she would just say that then, you know? At least let me know it was all BS to her and that she's just dishonest. To be honest, you got what you deserved. You pulled the wool out from under your real fiancé, and now this woman did it to you. Learn from this and don't play with people's feelings next time. I guess I read it wrong and thought he wanted to talk to his fiancée about the breakup. I kept waiting and waiting for that part to come up, but nada. His ex-fiancée is like a prop in a story, and he doesn't think about her at all or feel sorry. Actually, yeah, that makes no sense. The title of this is My 32 Male Fiancé 30 Female Blocked Me, How Can I Get Closure? It's got nothing to do with the beginning of the story and now. Were they even engaged? I don't think they were. So why is it titled that? I might be missing something. That actually is kind of a confusing point. Anyways, not the point of the story. You reap what you sow, right? That's kind of a big saying on this channel. A big saying of mine in my personal life. You do reap what you sow because two people who agree to start an affair because she was married and this guy had a fiance. You know, the foundation of this relationship was built on quicksand, essentially, because she's married, he's with someone else. Now, I don't know if he broke up with his fiance and then got with a married woman or what. Let me go back in time. The thing is, Crystal clearly started to regret what she did. You know, starting a whole affair with someone, plus she's got a kid. It's a whole thing, but no one in the story has a redeeming quality. No one featured in the story makes me go, you know, I feel for them. I think they're both terrible people, and in the end, you reap what you sow. You know, it's one of those things where if you do something extremely dumb, something dumb's probably gonna come from it. So, you know, you get your heart broken because Crystal changed her mind or she didn't want anything more to do with you, but like, I don't know what you expected. Someone who's willing to cheat on their husband and kind of upend their whole life is probably not a good person to begin with. I'm of the opinion that anyone who is willing to cheat and then get into another relationship, that's not going to be a good relationship from the get-go because of the foundation of what it's built on. So everybody sucks here. there's no one redeeming, and him tossing in the part about his fiancée, like, why is that part of the title? Maybe I'm missing something, I don't know, but yikes. Also, if someone blocks you, just take that for what it is. Just take it as a sign that they don't want to talk to you. Don't keep trying to reach out. Don't keep trying to contact them. If they blocked you, it's over. Let it go. But that's just my take on it. You kind of get what you deserve in the end. Sorry. Anyways, on to the next one. How do I tell my friends they're not giving me enough credit for their relationship? I'm not going to lie. My feelings are really hurt right now. A couple years ago, my two friends met each other at a kickback. What's a kickback? I initially had reservations about them two dating, but I let it go. My friend Thomas even asked advice for planning this one date for Emily. It was still early on and they had been on a few dates, but this was the date that made her realize he's the one for her. I was instrumental in the planning. It was Thomas's birthday and she was giving a toast on their relationship, and she didn't mention me at all. It felt like a slap in the face. I'm not trying to make it too long, but there is more instances of both of them just not acknowledging at all the role I played in their relationship. How can I bring thing up? Do I talk to them individually, or should I bring it up separately? LOL, 2 years ago you told your friend Emily to break up with Thomas and she refused. How exactly did you help with the relationship? I said I had reservations in the beginning, but I also helped plan the date that made her realize he was the one for her, which is a big deal. And now here's the post. My 25 female friend, 24 female, is dating my male friend, 25 male, even though I told her I'm not comfortable. Should I tell him to end things? My friend Emily and I became friends because we live in the same apartment complex. Thomas and I both became friends since we was 19. Thomas had a crush on me, but he's not my type. For 2 years he tried to get with me, but eventually he got the hint and we remained good friends. A month ago I was hosting a kickback and that's where they met. Thomas mentioned to me that he likes my friend and asked me to set him up. I said no. I told him if he liked her to speak to her himself, and he did. Emily asked me about him when he tried to talk to her, and I said he's a good guy. Neither one asked if I was even okay with them dating each other. They'd been on a couple date, and I told Emily after her second date that I don't feel comfortable with this. I asked her to end things, but she said no, and that's unfair to ask her because she really likes him. She says I should have something before, but really they should have asked me if I was okay with this. I want to talk with Thomas about this before they get too serious without impacting our friendship. It's unfair, selfish, and frankly not very friend-like to prevent them from dating. It's unfair, selfish, and frankly not very friend-like to date someone when your friend tells you that makes them uncomfortable. Why would that make you uncomfortable? He's not your man. You sound jealous that he will no longer pay you any more attention. Nobody's jealous. I don't like him in that way. Yeah, so I don't know what her deal is, but sounds like you wanted the attention from Thomas. I don't understand wanting to be the party that gives permission for people to date each other. That to me is a little bit strange because, why does it matter? You know? And then to be like, well, I want credit for getting them together.
Huh?
I mean, you know, it just seems like a petty thing to get upset over, and then the other post proves that you clearly didn't want these two together, at least at first. I just think it's really petty to be like, I wish they had given me credit for their relationship, you know? Like, it's one of those things that doesn't really matter. And I also don't understand the big deal about them dating and being together, like why that was a big deal. The other post gives you a lot more clarity into this whole situation. So you want credit for something that you didn't even want to happen at first. Make it make sense, because it don't. So it just comes across as like really petty to me, is kind of my take on it, I guess. That's kind of where I'm at these days. Like, people are just so excessively petty about stuff. That would kind of be my take on it. Honestly, guys, I got interrupted for a few hours, so I'm coming back to the story, and even now, that's my take. It's just petty. That's just me. Anyways, on to the next one. How do I, 25 female, tell my friend, 24 male, he can do much better than his girlfriend, 26 female? You don't. So I'm not sure if this is my place, or not to say, but my friend just introduced his girlfriend to the group, and she was not attractive at all by conventional standards. I also know for a fact that's not his type. He does not like bigger girls at all. Why is it always about someone bigger? Even my fiancé, 27 male, was surprised and agreed She wasn't on his level. So, some background on our friendship. We went to middle school, MS, and high school, HS, together. About a year ago, we recently reconnected because we live in the same apartment complex. Neither one of us are from DC, and actually are from way further away, so when we ran into each other, it was crazy. Anyway, we weren't close in MS or HS, but during those years, he definitely was the loner kid. Wasn't really attractive, but since then, he came into his own, and he looks good. His body is amazing. Okay, whoa! His body is amazing, but he still can't dress, unfortunately. Why are you ripping this man to shreds? When my fiancé and I were talking about this, he thinks 24 male must still look at himself through a high school lens, and thinks he's a loser still, and doesn't realize he can get way more attractive girls now. My fiancé thinks it's worth one or both of us having a conversation with him and just letting him know we like his girlfriend, and if that's who you want to date, then cool. But if you want someone more attractive, you can definitely get that. You just met this girl. Your friend likes this girl enough to introduce you to his friends, and you automatically write her off because she doesn't look like his type? You know nothing about the relationship dynamic. Get to know her before casting judgment. We just want to make sure this is what he wants, and he's not settling because he thinks he has to. It has nothing to do with the girl. I think she's very nice and would certainly be her friend. This is really weird. If he is attracted to her, then that is all that matters. Personally, I would ignore if a friend didn't find my future partner attractive. Good, because he's mine, not yours anyways. I'd be on your side if there were actually any red flags or internal issues this new girlfriend displayed. But since you're only concerned about whether his partner looks good enough in comparison to him, I say you'd be an a-hole for sharing this with him. Sorry. For me, it's not about whether my fiancé and I find her attractive. It's just making sure my friend isn't settling when he doesn't have to. If he does find her attractive, even though she's definitely not his type because he's described his type to me before, that's fine. This whole story is so overwhelmingly shallow, I can't even give like a good take on it because, you know, what attracts you to a person or what makes a relationship work may not make sense to someone else. Now, their only standard of this relationship is that this guy's girlfriend is not conventionally attractive because she's bigger. This is so problematic to describe someone that way and to not see the issue with that. Who this guy is with, who this guy wants to date, is none of your business. You knew him in school, which was like, how many years ago now? Almost 10 for you? Now you're fixating on his looks, first of all, which is very strange. How he looks, how he dresses, how he perceives himself has nothing to do with you, and you should not be like, do you still see yourself as the loser? Because, you know, you could do better. It's like this weird, nitpicky kind of attitude that comes through in this story. He's good looking, but he doesn't dress very nice. He is really insecure and still views himself as that lonely loser kid from school, and that must be why he's dating this girl. Like, it's a whole thing. It's so problematic, this whole post. I just think, point blank, none of this is any of your business. Who he's with, who he's attracted to, how he perceives himself, how he dresses, you know, none of this has anything to do with you. And I don't think you're a very good friend. Completely hinging the success of someone's relationship on the fact that his girlfriend is bigger is crazy. The original poster, their fiancé, these two just seem really icky to me and really shallow. But that's my take. That's just my take. But let's just move on to our next one. So we now reach the time of the night where we read one last crazy one and call it there. So everyone, settle in, and let's just dive right in with our final post. How do I get my 40 male wife, 37 female, to speak to me after a prank? My 40 male wife, 37 female, and I've been married for over 6 years, and I've started to feel like our love life lacks the same zest that it used to. So I decided to play a bit of a prank to make things unpredictable again. A few nights ago, when we had done the deed, I picked up my wallet and flung a 20 at her before leaving the room.
You what?
Ever since, she has refused to sleep in the same bed with me, and she doesn't seem to care that it was nothing more than a joke. I understand that I must have done something wrong. What? You don't know what you did? But if I cannot even open up a dialogue, I don't think I can smooth things over between us. Any advice? You're a 40-year-old man who just called his wife a is a joke. Seriously though, you're an idiot. Truly. Post-intimacy, hold your wife and tell her you love her. That's a way quicker route to more intimacy, you absolute clown! Maybe she's just pranking you back. Line up /S. Sarcasm. From your post, it sounds like you don't understand what you did wrong, so talking about it might not be the best thing right now. I take some time to reflect why what you did was not only unhelpful, but harmful to the very thing you wanted to address. Can you believe that people in the comment section on Toxic Reddit's post were defending this? Here's the thing. If this is your kind of humor and you're like, that's hilarious, but you're with someone who doesn't find that funny, you should know that. If you've been with, okay, my camera won't focus. If you've been with them for over 6 years, like however long they were dating, if you don't know your partner's type of humor, I hate pranks. Okay, I hate when couples prank each other, especially if one of the parties involved does not like pranks. Or you pull a prank that is excessively cruel like this. Point blank, you're implying she's a and you thought that would be funny. I don't see anything funny about that. That would actually aggravate a lot of people, and a lot of people would find that very deplorable. So if you don't even understand at the very basis, the very foundation of what happened, what you did wrong, then you cannot open up a dialogue about this, because you will just defend, well, it was just a prank, it was just so funny, but it wasn't to her. So I know everybody has different types of humor, and I can get on board with that, but if you don't know that your spouse would not find something like this funny this far in, do you really know them at all? And I honestly don't think a lot of people would find this funny. Like, it takes a very specific type of humor to find that hilarious. And when you're doing the deed and everything's really vulnerable and intimate, you don't want someone to imply that you're a prostitute. Like, again, if this is your humor, and you and your spouse both know that this is the kind of humor and the kind of jokes that you can make with each other, fine. I don't get it, but that's you. It ain't my relationship. But if this is something you do out of the blue, your partner is like, what the hell is wrong with you? And you're like, what? It's just a prank. What's your problem? You don't know your partner. You know, you don't know the audience you're catering to. You don't know your audience, you can't read the room. And I think that no amount of discussing this would fix it unless you know what you did wrong. So that is where we're gonna cut it off for the night. Obviously, it's been a while since we've posted, so I kind of wanted a little bit more chill of a vibe to start with, you know, to bring us back in. I hope everyone's been having a great 2026 so far. It's incredibly weird how fast time has passed. It blows my mind when I realize we're almost at the end of the first month of this year. But if you want to spend a little bit more time with me, I will link down to my Reddit stories playlist. There is a master playlist which is filled with a large mix of stories, or you can check out the Reddit relationship specific playlist if you just want to stick with those stories. I went through my channel a couple of months ago and reorganized all my playlists so that they're a little bit more structured. I love structure. I'm sorry for taking such a long break, but you know, you gotta do what feels right for you. But I have missed you guys, and I have missed YouTube, and hopefully I will be back for the foreseeable future. Life has a way of throwing wrenches right in your skull though, so you just never know. So thank you all so much for watching. Hopefully you all enjoyed, and hopefully I will see you all here next time.